Welcome to another deep dive from the Riffle. This is a podcast series brought to you by 10 Leaves. Today we're plunging into, the pretty fascinating occurrence of global financial regulation. We're zeroing in on a significant new move coming out of Abu Dhabi. Specifically, we're looking at the latest consultation paper from the Financial Services Regulatory Authority. That's the FSRA of the Abu Dhabi Global Market, or ADGM. We've got excerpts here from the FSRA of ADGM, publishes Consultation Paper number 8 of 2025. Our mission today, let's unpack what these proposed enhancements really mean, for transparency, for integrity, and really the future of finance and what's become one of the world's fastest growing financial hubs. Can ADGM's rules keep up with its, frankly, explosive growth? And what's this paper telling us about their plans for, the next generation of finance?
That really is the core question, isn't it? This paper, it's not just some routine update. Not just bureaucratic shuffling. It's a strategic signal. It shows ADGM is being proactive, constantly evolving its standards, and really cementing its commitment to being a truly world-class financial ecosystem. It's about building a really solid foundation, one that can handle today's complexities, sure, but also, future-proof the whole environment for sustainable growth globally.
Yeah. Okay. Let's unpack this a bit. For those who are already, deep in the financial world, ADGM probably rings a bell. But what really sets it apart on the global stage, beyond just the impressive growth figures we hear about, what's the unique thing ADGM offers that makes it such a magnet?
Well, what makes ADGM really stand out, beyond just the sheer scale, is its unique structure. It's got this common law framework operating within a financial free zone. Think of it like creating an independent legal sort of island within Abu Dhabi. It's distinct from the UAE's federal civil law system, so it operates under its own laws modeled very closely on English common law, and that offers a level of legal certainty and familiarity. Global investors, businesses, especially from common law countries, find that incredibly attractive. It's designed for efficiency, transparency, integrity. It's like a plug-and-play setup for global business.
And the scale, you mentioned scale, the numbers are just eye-popping. Our sources talk about, a 245% growth in assets under management, AUMs, in 2024, just 2024. Plus, bringing Al Reem Island into the fold added over 1,100 entities. That's huge. That kind of speed, that kind of rapid ascent, it must bring challenges, right?
Right.
Does this consultation paper actually address potential regulatory gaps or pressures from that kind of expansion?
Oh, absolutely. That kind of growth, it's not just a number on a page. It shows immense trust, huge investment flowing into ADGM. But yeah, it demands an equally dynamic and adaptive regulatory response. And that's exactly what we see in this consultation paper number 8. It's a proactive move, making sure the rules don't just keep pace, but actually anticipate the evolving needs and risks that, come with growing so fast. The FSRA, they're not waiting for problems. They're fine-tuning the system now. They're asking for views on these enhancements, aiming for a continued alignment with IOSCO standards. It's the global benchmark for securities regulation.
Right. So with ADGM just shooting up like this, maintaining trust, maintaining stability, that's got to be paramount. Which brings us right to this paper number 8 of 2025. Is this reacting to something specific happening in the market? Or is it more, like I said, proactive future-proofing, maybe even looking ahead to things like DeFi? What's a real engine behind these specific proposals?
I'd say it's definitely more proactive than reactive. I mean, sure, all regulators watch market shifts, but this paper feels like ADGM saying, look, we're not just regulating what's here now, we're getting ready for what's coming next. The driving force really is that commitment to align with, and sometimes even go beyond, international best practices. They want to stay at the forefront. It's not just about growth. It's about the robustness, the credibility of their regulatory environment. So this paper, it's a clear signal. They're serious about protecting market integrity, investor confidence. That's critical if you want to attract and keep top-tier financial players.
Okay, so the paper lays out several key enhancements. Seems like they're broadening the FSRA's reach, its oversight. Let's start with a really foundational one, this general prohibition on misleading and deceptive conduct. I mean, beyond just saying don't mislead, how is this different from what you might see in, say, London or Singapore? Is it the scope or maybe the enforcement teeth behind it?
That's a really good question because, every place has rules against fraud. What's significant here is how general this prohibition is. Instead of just relying on specific rules that might lag behind, fast-moving products or schemes, think about new crypto things or complex derivatives. A general prohibition lets the FSRA act on new, maybe unforeseen types of deception. It's essentially a broad catch-all. It gives them power to say, look, if it feels wrong, if it looks like it's designed to mislead, it's prohibited. That gives them huge flexibility to protect the market, especially in emerging areas where maybe the old rules don't quite fit yet. It's a powerful tool for integrity in such a dynamic place.
So it's less about checking boxes and more about setting kind of a pervasive ethical standard from the get-go. That makes sense. Now, if ADGM is aiming this high on conduct, how do they actually ensure compliance? This paper seems to give the FSRA some pretty significant new regulatory muscle, like suspending financial services permissions, FSPs, or an approved person's status on their own initiative, or granting FSPs but with specific conditions attached. What's the real-world impact of these powers for firms operating there?
Yeah, these proposals are basically giving the FSRA more granular, more decisive tools. Think of it like this. The power to suspend an FSP or someone's approved status on their own initiative, that's like a regulator's emergency brake. If they spot, say, a firm acting dangerously with client money or an individual showing serious misconduct, they can potentially stop the damage almost immediately. Rather than getting stuck in lengthy processes or waiting for an even bigger breach, that ability to intervene fast is crucial for protecting investors, preventing wider market issues. And similarly, granting FSPs with conditions allows for a very tailored approach to risk. Imagine a new fintech, right? Novel idea, but maybe high risk. Instead of just yes or no on the license, the FSRA can say, okay, approved, but maybe they limit the types of clients initially, or demand stricter reporting, or higher capital reserves. It ensures they grow within a managed risk framework. It allows innovation, but with strong oversight. It helps foster a healthier ecosystem overall.
That rapid action capability sounds, well, incredibly powerful. Necessary, maybe, in fast markets. But it does raise a little flag about due process, doesn't it? How does ADGM make sure that while they're acting fast for stability, there are still strong safeguards, so firms or people aren't unfairly hit? It sounds like a tricky balance.
It absolutely is a delicate balance, and the paper actually touches on this directly when it talks about imposing directions for prudential purposes and exercising certain powers with immediate effect. It's about the financial health of the whole market. Stability. Think about a sudden market crash or a major failure at a big firm. These immediate powers let the FSRA jump in fast, stop a local problem from becoming systemic. That's the prudential bit. It's a proactive guard against, potential domino effects. But importantly, the paper explicitly says important procedural safeguards remain in place for those affected. Now, our sources don't detail the specifics, but typically that means things like a robust appeals process, the right to state your case, clear criteria for when these powers are used. It suggests ADGM is aiming for a system that's both nimble in a crisis and fair in how it uses its authority, striking that balance between speed and justice.
Okay, beyond these sort of big picture powers and the conduct rules, are there other specific areas in these enhancements, things that might impact day-to-day operations for businesses or investors, or signal a bigger shift in ADGM's approach?
Yes, definitely. There are several other key refinements here, all contributing to strengthening the overall framework. For instance, the FSRA is looking to enhance disclosure requirements, especially around offering units of a fund. That means more transparency for investment products, helping investors make better decisions. There are also specific changes aimed right at protecting client assets, which is, fundamental for any trustworthy financial center. Refining how firms hold and manage client money and securities. And on top of that, the paper mentions streamlining complaints handling vital for building confidence, refining how auditors are appointed, ensuring rigorous independent checks, and strengthening record-keeping rules for better accountability, easier regulatory checks. If you pull all these threads together, they all point towards a more mature, more transparent, and ultimately a more trustworthy environment for everyone involved. From the institutions right down to individual investors, creating an ecosystem where everyone's on a level playing field, clear rules.
So let's bring it back to you, our listener. Whether you're an investor looking at Abu Dhabi, an entrepreneur with a new idea, or maybe an established business thinking about setting up an ADGM, why should these specific regulatory changes matter to you directly? What's the tangible benefit here?
Well, fundamentally, these proposed changes are a clear signal of ADGM's commitment. They're serious about building and keeping a truly world-class financial hub. For businesses, what that means is you're operating in a place that isn't just ticking boxes on global standards, but actively refining them, sometimes even leading the way. That enhances your credibility, makes you more attractive to international investors, partners. It provides a stable, predictable, robust robust foundation to build on. And for investors, it signals a much more protected, more transparent environment. Clearer rules, stronger oversight, more power for the regulator. It all adds up to greater confidence. Confidence that your assets are handled right, that the market's fair, that there are mechanisms if things go wrong. It builds trust. And trust is the absolute bedrock of any thriving financial market. And importantly, for anyone interested in actually shaping these rules, the consultation period is open until August 27th, 2025. It's a real chance to engage directly.
Exactly. That collaborative aspect is key, isn't it? Inviting input from the people who actually be operating under these rules. That feels like a hallmark of a forward-thinking regulator. And like you said, it's not happening in isolation. We've seen ADGM's FSRA putting out a pretty comprehensive cyber risk framework recently, and they're strengthening ties internationally too, like with the Central Bank of Azerbaijan through these cooperative agreements, these MOUs, all these different pieces. They paint a picture of a really dynamic, connected, and resilient financial center.
What's really striking, too, is how ADGM isn't just stuck on traditional finance. Their whole regulatory approach seems designed to be agile enough to handle emerging tech and new business models, things like virtual assets, green finance. These frameworks, plus the enhanced powers we've talked about today, mean they can bring innovative companies on board, but still keep a strong grip on oversight. It's about being both progressive and prudent. That's a pretty rare and powerful combination in finance today.
We've certainly covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into ADGM's latest consultation. It's really clear that building a strong, adaptable financial framework, well, it isn't a one-off job, is it? It's an ongoing, iterative process. And it's absolutely crucial for building trust, enabling that sustained growth in, let's face it, a constantly changing global economy.
And, this look at ADGM's approach, it brings up a bigger question for all financial centers, really. How do you balance the critical need for tight regulation and stability with the absolute imperative to innovate and grow the market, especially when new tech is always pushing the boundaries? It's a constant calibration act. And this consultation paper gives us a really fascinating glimpse into ADGM's very meticulous, very forward-thinking strategy for managing that delicate balance.
Absolutely. Well, a huge thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope you, our listener, feel a little more informed, maybe a bit more curious about how global finance works and how hubs like ADGM are actively shaping its future. This deep dive was brought to you by 10 Leaves.